The global economy will massively suffer. Uncertainty will spiral and trigger the rise of further protectionism. The consequences will be dire for millions of people around the globe, also for the most vulnerable countries, which are now subject to some of the highest US tariffs. The opposite of what we wanted to achieve.
As you just heard, top European Union officials saying President Donald Trump's new reciprocal tariffs are a major blow to the global economy.
CBS's Jared Hill has more now on the president's announcement and also the worldwide reaction from New York.
Today, countries around the world are threatening to retaliate after President Donald Trump laid out his long-awaited tariffs.
It's our declaration of economic independence.
The plan, a 10% tax on nearly all goods brought into the U.S. starting April 5th. On April 9th, additional reciprocal tariffs on more than 60 countries President Trump dubbed the worst offenders. That's 34% on China, 20% for the European Union, likely meaning Americans pay higher prices for electronics, clothing, construction equipment. Canada and Mexico are exempt, instead facing tariffs linked to fighting the flow of undocumented immigrants and illegal drugs. All of this as the president's 25% tariffs on foreign cars and auto parts kicked in overnight.
If you want your tariff rate to be zero, then you build your product right here in America.
Impacted countries are calling on the U.S. to reconsider.
We're now preparing for further countermeasures to protect our interests and our businesses if negotiations fail.
Many American small businesses are also bracing for impact.
We're looking at a huge increase in costs that we will have to figure out how to absorb.
On Capitol Hill, criticism from both sides.
These tariffs are a disaster for the average American family.
I don't think it's going to be good for us politically, but it's not good for the country either.
Kentucky's Rand Paul, one of 4 Senate Republicans to join Democrats in backing a long-shot bill to undo tariffs against Canada. Jared Hill, CBS News.
Stop using ChatGPT like everyone else. And
shut up. Shalom. First and foremost, I'm going to give all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh Bashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Rakapadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that rule well. Blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect. News in the gospel, broad lifting up the standard of Yahweh Bashim, Yahweh Shai, wherever it may be. This is a quick lesson through the spirit. Man, this dude Trump is off the chain, bro. He announced tariffs on pretty much the entire world, which took effect 12 o'clock midnight last night. So currently is in effect as this information has been coming out all morning about tariffs and the economy and how, reciprocal tariffs, like to reciprocate something means to do in tandem or to do back. Like if somebody said, well, you need to reciprocate that offer, then that means that you need to pay it back or do it the same, And this dude, he just don't give a shit, man, He's putting, I think, 35% on China, 30% on Taiwan, 25% on Canada. And he's literally causing the world to be up in an uptick, man, okay? Which we've been saying through the spirit that this dude Trump is going to show his horns. And these terrorists are going to come back and bite the consumers in the ass, man, which is the working class people, because we take the hit on every goddamn thing. We're literally the legs that hold the table up so everybody else can eat, because you have to have what they call a working class in order to keep the rich rich and to keep the poor sustained or poor. Okay, while the rich won't necessarily take a hit, even though they may have to pay up in goods, but their checks, they're going to still be okay during this time because they're not going to really take a hit. So this is impacting the working class people, which is a third of the country, which takes on 2/3 of the country. So things are getting ready to go up. They're talking about cost of construction equipment. And as we know that there's a lot of building up in Babylon right now, especially in Kansas City with all these new development projects in progress. They want to bring the FIFA 2026. I believe they want to bring they want to bring it here next year, I think. So they're building up Kansas City hand over fist. But as these prices increase, they're going to have to do one or two things. Either they're going to have to stop building or they're going to have to charge the consumer more. Okay, as if rent is not high enough. But this is going to be a devastating blow to the economy because the Dow Jones which is the stock market, which is controlled, it's been down since Trump's inauguration because he was talking that BS about tariffs. So people are getting ready to feel the squeeze, man. And hey, Isaiah 4:1, hey, be prepared, brothers. These women, they're sniffing around. And what my man saying, and Pay the Fool, he said, shit, I can smell a nigga with money. He said even Ray Charles can see you got money. Even though the men of the Lord, we're pretty, we're not rich, but, we're not rich, we're not wealthy, and we don't just have money hand over fist, but we have the spirit of Yahweh Shai, which sustains us in these times, man, because while everybody is feeling the squeeze, the Lord has provided us the provisions to go through this thing with a clear mindset, and people are going to gravitate to that. This is why the scriptures say, I know thy poverty, and thy, says, I know thy poverty, but thou art rich. And it's talking about this truth. All right. So it says Dow Jones drops 1,500 points and S&P 500 loses 4% as stock market routes on Trump tariffs worsens. Okay. So Esau is feeling it, man, and they're getting ready to lose it because it says stocks nosedive Thursday, sending the S&P 500 back into correction territory after President Donald Trump unveiled sweeping tariffs of at least 10% and even higher for some countries, raising the risk of a global trade war that hit the already sputtering U.S. economy, man. So he's talking about reciprocal tariffs, meaning that he's going to put it back on them. But you have to understand that they don't need you, bro. Okay, you've spent billions of dollars in outsourcing, and you've paid these men hand over fist over years for free to bring your companies and to make your products so America could be the biggest consuming nation on the planet, which is all set up by design for the collapse, by the way. But you think that they're getting ready to bring these companies back over here, and you think they're getting ready to manufacture their products in your society when they don't even like you like that? No. And you can't bag them with taking away the dollar because the dollar is losing value. Okay, in other nations, they're succeeding from the dollar. So that's like you starting a gunfight and you showing everybody, even though you got the gun, you ain't got no bullets. So what you think? They're gonna shoot at you, bro. It's a setup for it's a recipe for disaster, to say the least. And this place will fall. It's falling now. And it says the broad market index dropped 4%, putting it on a track for its worst day since September 2022. It says the Dow Jones Industrial Average tumbled 1,500 points, or 3.5%, while the NASDAQ Composite fell 5%. It says the slide across the equities was broad, with decliners than New York Stock Exchanges outnumbering advances by 6-1. But President Donald Trump unveiled on Wednesday sweeping tariffs of at least 10%. I read that already. They're repeating itself. But anyway, it says even higher for some countries, raising the risk of a global trade war that hits the already sputtering U.S. economy. It says shares of multinational companies tumbled. Nike and Apple dropped 12% and 8% respectively. And Apple, they can take the hit though, okay? Because that's a multi-$100 billion company a year. They make billions of dollars. So they can afford to absorb the impact. They just don't want to because they know stupid people want to buy the new iPhone every other month when it comes out. Like I think you got the the Apple 16 Pro, and what they do is they will constantly they will see, this is how they get you to upgrade, because I got not the 15, 14, one of them, same phone. But anyway, what they would do, they would start messing with your signal, and they'll start taking away your storage in order for you to upgrade to the newest iPhone, and they would send you frequent updates that eats away at your storage space so you can upgrade, man. And the price of an iPhone 16 Pro is already fucking $1,200, man. So if Apple decides to not take the hit on their products, because either way it go, they're going to make their money if they do absorb the cost, 12%. They can literally sell these phones $1,600, $1,700 a pop, and people will continue to buy it because they're under a spell, And then it says here, Nike dropped 8%. So them Jordans, they gonna go up, man, because Nike, they're not gonna want to take the hit, even though they've been around since the 60s, 70s. Nike's been around for some time, but Nike ain't gonna want to take the hit, and they quick to raise prices because they know Jake is a big consumer of their products, so they gonna make their money. But it says here, big sellers of important goods were among the hardest hit. 5 and below lost 29%, which they may just go out of business. Dollar Tree tumbled 8%, which they was closing Dollar Trees down maybe 3 years ago. And Gap plunged 22%, while tech shares dropped an overall risk of mood, with Nvidia off 6% and Tesla down 6%. It says the White House has unveiled a baseline tariff rate of 10% on all countries that goes into effect April 5th, and even bigger duties against countries that levy higher rates on the U.S. will be charged in coming days, according to the administration, man. So Trump is playing with fire, and guess what? He's not going to be affected by this, but the people is. Okay? So this is the book of Proverbs 29:2. It says, and when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked bear rule, the people mourn, and people are mourning all across the board. And this is why, hey, when you go on these YouTube channels, you got men like Steve Ram, you got the survivalist spectrum, you got Glenn Beck, you know, you got Redacted, all these people, which is controlled opposition, is telling people to gear up and to stockpile food and to get water and to get the necessities for survival because things are getting ready to get high. Okay, energy is already getting up there because Trump then put 25% tariffs on Canada. Now, I don't know if he redacted on it and withdrew the offer, or the penalty, but regardless of it, shit is getting ready to get high, from energy to vehicles, all types of stuff, man, because they're getting ready to collapse the dollar so they can bring in a digital system, you know. And I'm gonna go down to verses 7. Matter of fact, let's go down to verses 6. Hello, the hope. Matter of fact, the king by judgment established the land, but he that receiveth gifts overthrow it. Yep, this is 4. It says the king by judgment established the land, but he that receiveth gifts overthrow it. You know, bribes and all that other shit. It says a man that flattereth his neighbor spreadeth a net for his feet. Yeah, because he's talking about, well, yeah, we're gonna bring country, we're gonna bring business back in this and this and that. But everybody knows that these businesses are not coming back to Babylon. Okay, people don't look at America as being competent enough to sustain economic value, but instead spend money and be, well, Archie Bunker called them a bunch of damn meatheads, man. Okay, only thing the Americans is concerned with is what they're eating, what they're drinking, what they're buying, what kind of vehicles they're driving, and what kind of houses they live in, and what parties they're going to. That's all they care about. They don't care about anything outside of that. And now that the chickens are coming home to roost, everybody is all up in a frenzy. Okay, but it says here, the righteous consider it the cause of the poor, but the wicked regard it not to know it. So he don't care. Okay, he's telling you, oh, look, terrorists are going to bring back jobs, and, you know, we like these are friendly people, and I like them, and they like me, you know, all this other nonsense he's talking. But people in the world hate you, bro. Okay, they've already hated America since its inception for the most part, but now you got Trump adding insult to injury, and this is a whole different Trump from 8 years ago. Or 4 years ago. I don't know. When the last time the nigga was in office? 4 years ago? Before the Biden administration? Yeah. You know, even though he was talking that talk then. But, you know, on Trump's watch back in 2016, you know, prices were stable. People had a little bit more money. So they put faith in Trump. That was the pump fake. You know, he set you up for the pump fake, and then he went to the basket on you this term. You know, to dunk on your ass. Now people were like, wait a minute, man. This ain't the same Trump. This is why we call him Trump 2.0. But it says the righteous consider it the cause of the poor, but the wicked regard it not to know it. Going down to yep, that's good on that. That's good on that. So I'll go back to the article. So anyway, it says while we would charge them approximately half of what they are and have been charging us, said Trump in a press conference from the White House Rose Garden, so tariffs would not be a full reciprocal. But the half figures includes the combined rate of all their tariffs, non-monetary, barriers, and other forms of cheating, he said. But these rates will end up being much higher than investors had expected from many nations. For example, the effective tariff rate for China will now be 54% when accounting for the new reciprocal rate and duties already leveled against the country. But the White House clarified to CNBC, traders had hoped a 10 to 20% rate will be universally applied cap, not a minimal starting point. But this was the worst case scenario for tariffs and were not priced into the markets, which is why we are seeing such a risk-off reaction, said Marion Bartels, chief investment strategist, Sanctuary Wealth. It says the big question is if 5,500 can hold on to the S&P 500, But if it cannot hold, we may see another 5 to 10% downside, which could likely point to the bottom of a 5,200 minus 5,400, which is going to put them in negative in a negative rate. All right. So yeah, man, it's not looking too good for Babylon, to say the least. All right. So let's go to the book of Daniel 7, and I'm gonna start at verses 20. Yep, let's start at verses 20. Matter of fact, let's start at verses 19. It says, "Then I would have known the truth of the fourth beast, which the fourth beast is the Roman Empire, which was diverse from all others, exceedingly dreadful, whose teeth were of an iron, which is the military, and of his nails brass, which devour and break in pieces and stamp the residue with his feet, and of the 10 horns that were in his head, and the other which came up, and before whom 3 fell, even of that horn that had eyes, and a mouth that spake very great things, which is Babylon, whose look was more stout than his fellows," man. Okay, and that same horn made war with the saints, which is talking about this system, America, and prevailed against them until the Ancient of Days came, and judgment was given to the saints of the Most High, and the time came that the saints possessed the kingdom. So we're coming into this time. All right, but it says his looks was more stout than his fellows, man. You know, because now, hey, the whole world was getting ready to hate him, and he's literally that bold to put tariffs on the entire world, bro. Okay, the scriptures say this is a furious man. This man is a lunatic, to say the least. And this is going to gear up for his allies hating him. Okay, which we could see a total division of the NATO, EU, and a total divisiveness among these European nations, which will leave Babylon to fend for ourselves, man. So let's go to the book of Jeremiah 50th chapter. I think it's 50 or 51. Yep, 51. And let's start at verses 7. It says here, "Babylon has been a golden cup in the Lord's hand that made all the nations of the earth drunk, and the nations have drunken her wine. Therefore, the nations are mad." Yeah, the philosophies. People have been in bed with this place. They've been bullied by the United States military to accept the petrodollar and nothing less. And if they buck up against it, then all of a sudden your country will come up dissolved, and all of a sudden you have a central bank in your name in your country, and you're doing the bidding of the elites. And this is why everybody's trying to succeed from the dollar, because they don't want to be under that hammer, man, which the scriptures refer to Babylon as the hammer of the whole earth. And it says, "But Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed, and howl for her and take balm for her pain. If so, she may be healed." And she's not going to be healed, because these tariffs that he's putting on the world, they're going to come back and bite them, and we're going to have to pay for it. Okay, so expect the skyrocketing costs of rent. Everything is getting ready to go up. All right, because they're going to put back tariffs on its place. And it says here, "We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. So forsake her and let us go everyone to his own country." So everybody is leaving this place. They're like, fuck this. Take my money and I'm going to get the hell up out of here, and I'll make a living in my own country, making the money that I made here in America, man. You know, because this dude is hella bold, man. He's a furious man. Okay. Scriptures go into how wise king will look out for the people, but he's a wicked king, and he's totally destroying the people. Sirach 10:1. It says, "A wise judge will instruct his people, and the government of a prudent man is well ordered." And this man is not prudent, you know, but he's doing the bidding of the elites, because this was all a plan from the beginning. And Trump is the man to get the job done. Okay, hey, call Allah Yahweh how shy that Trump is moving at warp speed, because he's taking care of business, man. So if he's getting this much shit done this year, just imagine what another year was going to bring in. Okay, it may be a total different America by the end of the year. But as the judge of the people is himself, so are his officers, and what manner of men of the ruler of the city is such that all dwell therein. For the unwise king destroyed his people, but through the prudence of them which are in authority, the city should be inhabited, man. All right, it says an unwise king, and he's totally destroying his people. Because like I mentioned, hey, you can say goodbye to this economy, man, and eventually they will collapse the dollar, and all hell will break loose in the streets of America. All right. Habakkuk 2:4. "Behold, his soul, which is lifted up, is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith." It says his soul is not right in him. It says, because they have no leverage, bro. You have no leverage. The U.S. military, you can't use that as leverage over other nations anymore because other nations, they are fighting you back. Okay, you see what Iran said. They said, look, prepare for an imminent strike on Iran, and Iran is willing to retaliate. And Russia warned and said, look, if you attack any of their bases in Russia or around the surrounding areas, we're going to retaliate against America, which shows you the relationship between Putin and Donald Trump would not be on common ground because that's not what the prophecies say. All this peace talks and all this and that ain't what's in store because the Lord said that's not going to happen. Even if they are talking peace, eventually they're going to go to war behind this dollar. And it says, yea, because he transgressed by wine, he is a proud man, neither keep it at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell, and as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathering unto him all nations, and heaping unto him all people. And this is what Esau was doing. And it's starting with the terrorists because he wants to leverage over these surrounding countries, man. But they don't respect you anymore because they see you as weak and a joke. Okay, America is literally the laughing stock of the entire world. And this is why they're reciprocating terrorists on your ass, man. Because they don't fear you anymore. Because they're seeing your weakness and they're seeing that your allies are breaking away from you. Like the scriptures say, you're going to fall into your own trap, man. It says, should not all these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb that say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his? And how long? And to him that laden himself with thick clay, which that word clay goes into debt, because this is a debt-based society. And putting terrors on nations and they're slapping them back on you is going to increase the deficit. And it says, should they suddenly should not rise up that should bite thee, and awake that should vex thee, that thou should be booties unto them? Right. And booties is spoiled. Because thou hast spoiled many nations, all the remnant of the people shall spoil thee, because of men's blood, and for violence of the land, and of the city, and of all that dwell therein. So there's going to be a recompense. And the Lord is setting Babylon up for the ultimate fall, man. And you people that live in this society, and I'm not including us because we're going to be protected. We're going to be provided for. But the rest of you mush-minded demons in America, all y'all through, man. And you black women, hey, y'all beyond through. So, hey, brothers, just be prepared. These women, they finna start sniffing around and trying to subtly come make their ways in brothers' lives, man, because they watching us, man. They know what's up. They know we the men of the Lord. You know what I'm saying? And they know that we're speaking the truth and facts of the scriptures. They're just trying to hold out now because they still have a little soft pad landing. But once the landing is stripped from them, they're going to try to run their ass over here. And majority of y'all going to get rejected. Just being real with you, man, because, hey, we the type, look, we the type, look, if you ain't rocking with us from the beginning, don't rock with us towards the end. Okay, you're going to have to become 100% correct in order for you to be considered in that day, because looks and eyelashes and fat asses and fat lips ain't going to cut it. Okay, definitely hair weaves. Nope, keep that shit to y'all selves, man. Y'all got to come correct. You know what I'm saying? If not, don't come at all. But anyway, I'll give one more precept. This is the book of Psalms 35. And I'm going to start at verses 8. It says, let destruction come upon him at unawares, and let his net that he calls. It says, and let his net that he had hid catch himself. Into that very destruction, let him fall. So he's going to get caught up in his own snare. He's setting a snare for people to fall in, but yet he's digging himself inside his own bear trap, man. So, yeah, bro, this shit is through, man. And it's getting ready to get very, very interesting from this point. So with that, all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. Lord's will, you will edify. To the next lesson. Shalom.
Senior Counselor for Trade and Manufacturing, Peter Navarro. All right, Peter, I think everybody wants to know, is this a long-term strategy, or is this just a negotiating tactic to get other countries to drop their tariffs on us?
That's a great lead-off question. I had to laugh when you're telling us about how Israel and Doug Ford and Vietnam say, hey, we'll drop our tariffs. You know, they've been waiting for 40 years for that call in the Oval Office. We never got it. But here's what's really important, Jesse. As bad as the higher tariffs are that these countries around the world charge us, the non-tariff barriers are worse. The non-tariff barrier, currency manipulation, the VAT tax distortions, export subsidies, dumping, counterfeiting and piracy, IP theft. It goes on and on and on. And that kind of thing is going to be very, very hard for our foreign nations cheating us to get rid of overnight. This is not a negotiation, Jesse. This is a national emergency associated with chronic and massive trade deficits that are brought about by higher tariffs and higher non-tariff barriers that take our jobs, that take our factories, that lead to massive trade deficits that result in massive transfers of wealth into foreign hands that jeopardize our manufacturing base and defense industrial base. So no, this is not a negotiation. It's a national emergency. And the president is treating it as such. And it's Liberation Day, Jesse, from
Well,
an international trade system.
Happy Liberation
that's
Day,
exquisitely designed this international trade system, exquisitely designed, Jesse, to steal our factories and our jobs and our wealth through unfair trade practices, higher tariffs, more importantly, higher non-tariff barriers. Yes, Liberation Day, let us celebrate that.
All right. Well, CNBC says it's a bloodbath tomorrow. They don't know how long this process is going to take. Paul Krugman just said you've lost your mind.
All right, let me unravel some of this stuff. I mean, first of all, the media and the economists and everybody in between have been absolutely wrong about trade, going back to the days they said NAFTA was going to be great for America. It destroyed our manufacturing base and led to mass illegal immigration. They said China getting into the WTO was going to be great. We lost 5 million manufacturing jobs and 100,000 factories. And during the first term, Jesse, and this, I'm burying the lead, like, you remember this, every one of those people from Krugman on down said that the Trump tariffs in the first term on China, on steel and aluminum, on solar, on dishwashers, and go on down. What'd they say? They said, oh, recession, oh, inflation. What do we have? Price stability, economic prosperity. And for me, the most gratifying thing being in that White House was real wages increasing for workers in blue-collar America and the middle class. And that was the greatest achievement of the Trump administration, besides everything else he did. So the legacy media is on trial tonight because I'm watching all these coverage. You know, it's like inflation, stock market, struggling. Why don't they do stories like you just did, Jesse? You gave a clinic. That was a seminar on the destruction of the American economy by unfair trade over the last 50 years. Why haven't they talked about that tonight? Why haven't they talked about it for the last 50 years?
You were
know why.
complimenting me more than my mother, Peter, and that's why I love you. And
you deserve it tonight. It's Liberation Day. I'm in a good mood.
All right, Liberation Day
I'll
for everybody.
let you know when you screw up, too. All right, brother?
All right. Just text the show.
And you let me know, too.
Thanks, Peter. Good to see you. Man. Click here.